Russell, better known as Chumlee, is in jail tonight.
New at 11, owners of the pawn shop saying while they don't have details, they're here to help Chumlee however they can.
The terms of a plea deal that'll keep him from serving prison time.
It came as a surprise to many when the name Austin Lee Russell, better known to fans of Pawn Stars as Chumlee, started trending for reasons that weren't related to antiques or funny one-liners. For years, Chumlee had been a beloved figure on the History Channel's hit reality show, known for his laid-back attitude, quick wit, and sometimes unexpected knowledge in specific collectible categories. But how did he end up in the spotlight in the first place? To understand the fascination surrounding him, both the highs and the lows, we need to take a closer look at how Chumlee's journey began. Chumlee was born on September 8, 1982, in Henderson, Nevada, just a short drive from Las Vegas. The nickname that would later become his TV identity was given to him when he was around 12 years old. A friend's father said he resembled Chumlee, the walrus sidekick from the classic animated series Tennessee Tuxedo. The name stuck, and from then on, he was simply Chumlee. He grew up in a fairly typical middle-class environment and became best friends with Corey Harrison during his childhood. That connection would prove to be life-changing. Corey's father, Rick Harrison, and grandfather, Richard Old Man Harrison, had opened the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop in Las Vegas back in 1989. The shop, which dealt in a wide variety of goods, everything from jewelry and rare antiques to guitars and historical memorabilia, was already a well-known local business by the time Chumlee came into the picture. Chumlee officially joined the shop at the age of 21. At first, his responsibilities were fairly straightforward, helping behind the counter, testing items to verify authenticity, loading and unloading merchandise, and preparing tickets for customer purchases. He wasn't in a leadership position and wasn't known to customers as a key figure in the business, at least not yet. That began to change in 2009 when the production company Left Field Pictures pitched a reality TV show centered around the shop. The idea was to show the inner workings of a pawn shop in Las Vegas, how deals were made, how historical items were appraised, and how the characters behind the counter interacted with both customers and each other. The result was Pawn Stars, which began airing on the History Channel in July of that year. The show quickly took off. Viewers were fascinated by the wide variety of items that came through the shop, and even more intrigued by the dynamic personalities on screen. Rick, the sharp and business-savvy owner, Corey, the somewhat more laid-back heir apparent, and Richard, the gruff and no-nonsense grandfather, all formed a solid trio. But it was Chumlee who stood out. He brought a different kind of energy to the show. While often portrayed as the comic relief or the one making mistakes, his sense of humor and authentic personality made him extremely relatable. Despite being the butt of jokes at times, Chumlee's popularity soared. He wasn't just there for laughs. He also showed genuine interest and knowledge in niche areas. For example, in one episode, he surprised Corey and Rick by demonstrating a deep understanding of vintage pinball machines. It was a moment that gave viewers a glimpse into a more knowledgeable and capable side of Chumlee, making him even more likable. It didn't take long before Chumlee started seeing opportunities outside of the show. Recognizing his growing fan base, he launched his own business to sell branded novelty items, including t-shirts, stickers, and other merchandise featuring his likeness or catchphrases from the show. The demand was strong, so strong in fact, that he sold half of the company to Rick Harrison for $155,000 in 2010. The deal allowed the shop to better manage inventory and handle merchandise orders more efficiently. Chumlee's items regularly outsold those of other cast members, thanks to his popularity. But this wasn't just a cash grab. Chumlee had always had an entrepreneurial spirit. Before his days at the pawn shop, he had worked as an assistant manager at McDonald's. When Rick decided to purchase a Quiznos sandwich shop at one point, he entrusted Chumlee with the job of running it. For a while, Chumlee balanced both jobs, managing the Quiznos and working at the pawn shop. According to interviews, he worked for 135 days straight without taking a single day off. That work ethic, paired with the opportunity the show provided, positioned him for real success. In fact, his rising fame even led to appearances beyond Pawn Stars. One standout example was his cameo in an episode of the popular Nickelodeon series iCarly, titled "I Lost My Head in Vegas." In the episode, Chumlee, along with Rick and Corey, played themselves in a storyline that involved the main characters losing a valuable item. The crossover moment was a hit among fans and helped expand his visibility beyond the typical History Channel audience. Behind the scenes, Chumlee was navigating some personal challenges. Just 2 weeks before Pawn Stars first aired, his father passed away from pancreatic cancer. The loss had a deep impact on him and would later influence his choices about his health and lifestyle. Despite this, he managed to stay focused on the show and embraced the platform it gave him. His dynamic with Rick Harrison became one of the most entertaining aspects of the show. The contrast between Rick's serious demeanor and Chumlee's easygoing, sometimes goofy behavior created a natural chemistry that felt genuine, not scripted. Fans appreciated that. Their relationship, which had grown over nearly 2 decades of working together, resembled something close to family. Rick has often said in interviews that, despite the teasing, he sees Chumlee almost like another son. Even as the show continued to evolve, introducing new locations and updated production formats, Chumlee remained a consistent presence. His ability to make people laugh, coupled with unexpected moments of insight, kept viewers interested. He wasn't just a background character, he was part of what gave Pawn Stars its unique charm. The legal trouble began when Chumlee became part of an investigation that originally had nothing to do with drugs or weapons. On March 9, 2016, officers from the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department executed a search warrant at Chumlee's home. The search was part of a broader investigation related to an allegation of sexual assault. While Chumlee was never charged with any sexual assault offense, the police found other items that sparked a completely separate legal case. During the search of his home, authorities uncovered a significant quantity of illicit items. These included marijuana, methamphetamine, Xanax, and several firearms. Some of the weapons were unregistered, and there was also evidence suggesting possible cocaine use. The discovery shocked fans and prompted widespread media coverage. For someone who had been seen by the public as a lovable underdog and comedic figure, the situation felt drastically at odds with his public image. Chumlee was arrested shortly after the search and released on a $62,000 bond the following day. The news traveled fast, with major outlets reporting that the reality TV star was now facing multiple felony charges. In total, he was hit with 20 charges, primarily related to drug possession and weapons violations. Given the serious nature of the charges, there was understandable concern that this could mean the end of his career, or at the very least, a long period away from television. However, the story didn't end there. Chumlee and his legal team quickly began working on a strategy to resolve the situation without letting it spiral into a lengthy public trial. His attorney, David Chesnoff, a high-profile Las Vegas lawyer known for handling celebrity cases, negotiated a plea deal with prosecutors. On May 23, 2016, Chumlee officially pleaded guilty to 1 felony weapons charge, unlawful possession of a firearm, and 1 count of attempted drug possession, which was categorized as a gross misdemeanor. As part of the deal, he was sentenced to 3 years of probation and agreed to attend regular counseling. He also forfeited the firearms and drugs that were found during the search. Importantly, the agreement specified that if Chumlee complied with all the terms of his probation and stayed out of legal trouble during that time, the felony weapons charge would be dropped. This would leave only the misdemeanor on his record, allowing him to move forward without the long-term burden of a felony conviction. The plea deal was a turning point. It showed a willingness on Chumlee's part to accept responsibility and make changes. He didn't deny the situation or attempt to play the victim. Instead, he quietly fulfilled the obligations outlined by the court and stayed out of any further legal trouble. Unlike many public figures who often deflect blame, Chumlee chose to take a different path, one of low-profile accountability. What followed was a relatively quiet period in the public eye. While Chumlee continued filming Pawn Stars, he kept a lower profile outside of the show. He appeared less frequently in the media avoided public drama, and focused on improving his personal life. This approach helped keep the controversy from completely overshadowing his career. In fact, many casual viewers of Pawn Stars may not have even noticed a significant change, as the show itself made no major reference to the legal case. Despite the severity of the original charges, Chumlee's fan base remained largely supportive. Many people saw the situation as a wake-up call rather than a definitive end to his career. Social media posts and comments from fans showed continued interest in his life and even offered words of encouragement. His story resonated with people who understood that mistakes don't have to define someone's entire future. Part of the reason why he was able to recover so gracefully from the situation was the work he put into changing his lifestyle. After the legal trouble, Chumlee shifted his focus inward. He became more conscious of his health, began working on his physical fitness, and made efforts to stay grounded. In later interviews, he admitted that the legal incident was a turning point, one that made him take a hard look at how he was living his life. In 2017, just 1 year after the arrest, Chumlee opened Chumlee's Candy on the Boulevard, a candy store located right next to the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop in Las Vegas. The store quickly became a hit with both tourists and locals, offering nostalgic candies and sweet treats, as well as branded merchandise. Fans were often delighted to find Chumlee at the store in person, chatting with customers and taking photos. This business venture wasn't just another way to make money. It was a symbol of personal reinvention. In many ways, the candy shop became a representation of Chumlee's effort to rebuild not just his reputation, but his day-to-day lifestyle. Running a small business required discipline and focus, traits that had perhaps been overshadowed during his earlier years of fame. He showed that he could be more than the comic relief on a reality TV show. He could be a responsible business owner and a positive presence in his community. His weight loss journey also began to take shape around this time. While it would take a few more years before he underwent gastric sleeve surgery in 2019, his initial efforts to change his eating habits and lifestyle came shortly after the legal case. He gave interviews describing how he was eating more vegetables, cutting down on red meat, and exercising regularly. It was clear that he was making an effort to turn things around on multiple levels. Throughout this time, Pawn Stars continued filming and remained a popular show on the History Channel. Despite the earlier rumors that Chumlee might be written out or that the controversy would lead to his departure, he stayed on as a full-time cast member. This decision from the network and production team suggested that they believed in his ability to recover and grow from the experience. It was also a vote of confidence from Rick Harrison, the show's lead figure and Chumlee's longtime employer and friend. One of the most visible aspects of Chumlee's post-controversy journey was his health transformation. For years, his weight had fluctuated, and at his heaviest, he tipped the scales at around 350 pounds. While his appearance had always been part of his on-screen identity, the health concerns that came with being severely overweight became increasingly difficult for him to ignore. He'd mentioned in interviews that the death of his father from pancreatic cancer just before Pawn Stars first aired had deeply affected him. His father had passed away at only 54, and the loss served as a warning sign that he couldn't afford to take his own health lightly. Chumlee began taking gradual steps to change his lifestyle. He adjusted his diet, cut back on junk food, and started incorporating exercise into his routine. In the beginning, he lost around 75 pounds through traditional means. He spoke publicly about preparing his own meals, avoiding red meat, and skipping processed foods. He even swapped soda for smoothies in the mornings. However, like many people who struggle with weight loss, he found it difficult to keep the weight off in the long term. The gains would come back, and eventually, he realized he needed a more permanent solution. In early 2019, Chumlee opted for gastric sleeve surgery. The procedure, performed at Blossom Bariatrics in Las Vegas, involves reducing the size of the stomach by about 75 to 80%. This type of surgery has become more common among people who struggle with severe obesity and are unable to maintain weight loss through lifestyle changes alone. Chumlee was open about the fact that the surgery wasn't an easy way out. It was a tool to help him make the changes he needed to stay healthy. According to interviews with People magazine and other outlets, the surgery was just the beginning. He followed it up with consistent work on his diet, exercise, and mental health. The results were impressive. Over time, Chumlee lost more than 160 pounds, bringing his weight down to around 190. He looked dramatically different and felt better, both physically and mentally. He continued to share his progress with fans on social media, posting photos of his meals, gym sessions, and personal reflections. For many people following his journey, it was a source of motivation. He proved that even after a difficult past, meaningful change is possible with commitment and the right support. But Chumlee's transformation wasn't limited to his body. He also took the opportunity to reinvent himself as an entrepreneur. While still working at the gold and silver pawn shop and appearing on Pawn Stars, he began exploring business opportunities that reflected his personal interests and allowed him to step out from behind the counter. In 2017, he opened Chumlee's Candy on the Boulevard, a nostalgic candy store located near the pawn shop in Las Vegas. The shop was a reflection of his lighthearted side, bright, colorful, and packed with old-school treats like Pez dispensers, Abba Zaba bars, and vintage sodas. The store also sells exclusive Chumlee merchandise, including autographed bobbleheads and custom keychains. It became a popular stop for tourists who not only wanted to enjoy retro sweets, but also hoped to catch a glimpse of Chumlee in person. According to Looper, the idea behind the store wasn't just about sugar and novelty. It was about creating a fun and welcoming environment that echoed the good-natured personality fans loved on television. Reviews from customers often mention how friendly the staff are and how frequently Chumlee himself shows up to interact with guests. For many, a visit to the candy shop became as much about the experience as the products themselves. Chumlee's business ventures didn't stop there. He began working on his own brand and expanding into areas that made sense for him. One such project involved the release of a retro-style video game called Chumlee's Adventure: The Quest for Pinky. The game was a tribute to classic side-scrolling platformers from the 1980s and 90s and featured Chumlee as the main character on a mission to rescue his beloved dog, Pinky. He talked about the project during an interview with Looper, expressing how much of a passion project it had been. As a lifelong fan of old Nintendo games, this was a creative way to bring something fun and different to his fan base. He also made a foray into the pet industry. In 2023, Chumlee partnered with PetShopping.tv to launch a range of pet merchandise that included matching pajamas for dogs and owners, stylish leashes, and fun pet treats. This move may have seemed unusual to some, but it reflected his long-standing love for animals and added another layer to his growing brand. According to Pet Food Industry, the collaboration was well received and demonstrated how adaptable Chumlee had become as a public figure and businessman. Behind all these ventures, Chumlee also made strides in improving his financial health. According to estimates from Scaling Up Excellence and other outlets, his net worth sits in the range of $5 million, built not just from his salary on Pawn Stars, reported to be around $25,000 per episode, but also from merchandise, business investments, and personal branding. These numbers may not put him in the same category as the world's top entrepreneurs, but for someone who started as the shop's comic relief, it's a noteworthy achievement. Not everything in his life has been shared publicly, however. Chumlee tends to keep his private relationships low-key. At one point, he had been engaged to Olivia Radaman, a student and entrepreneur, and the couple were married in a quiet ceremony in Hawaii in 2019. Since then, they've kept their relationship largely out of the spotlight, and fans have only seen glimpses of their life together through social media. There has been speculation about their current relationship status due to reduced public activity, but Chumlee has not made any formal announcements. Through all of these changes, he has remained a consistent presence on Pawn Stars, still working at the shop and filming episodes. His role may have matured slightly. He's not quite as goofy as he once was, but he continues to bring a sense of fun and authenticity that has become a key part of the show's lasting appeal. The dynamic between him and Rick Harrison, as well as with Corey, remains strong and gives viewers a sense of continuity even as the show evolves. In 2022, Chumlee took part in the launch of Pawn Stars Do America, a spin-off of the original Pawn Stars series on the History Channel. The show introduced a new format. Instead of filming entirely inside the gold and silver pawn shop in Las Vegas, the crew, Chumlee included, took the show on the road. In this new version, Rick Harrison, Corey Harrison, and Chumlee traveled across the country to cities like Detroit, Savannah, and Austin to meet collectors, visit historical locations, and appraise rare items in new settings. The spin-off quickly gained traction with longtime fans of the franchise. The format allowed for more variety and deeper storytelling, offering new cultural and historical insights from different parts of the country. Chumlee's role didn't change dramatically, but fans appreciated seeing him in a new environment. His lighthearted humor, curiosity, and enthusiasm remained key elements of the show, but the new format gave him more opportunities to interact with collectors and share his genuine knowledge about collectibles such as sneakers, toys, vintage video games, and pop culture memorabilia. One notable example occurred in 2024, when the team filmed in Detroit. According to Michigan Live, the episode included a mix of rock and roll memorabilia, vintage signage, and rare trading cards. Chumlee appeared in high spirits, interacting with fans and showcasing his expertise, particularly when discussing collectibles like Pokemon cards, one of his personal passions. Outside of television, Chumlee continued to grow his brand and businesses. One of his biggest successes has been Chumlee's Candy on the Boulevard, the nostalgic candy shop he opened in 2017. Located right next to the famous gold and silver pawn shop in Las Vegas, the store offers a wide range of retro and novelty candies, drinks, and souvenirs. The shop has also become a tourist attraction, partly because of its proximity to the pawn shop, but also because customers frequently get the chance to meet Chumlee himself in person. According to fan reviews and local coverage, Chumlee regularly appears at the store to greet customers, take photos, and help out behind the counter. The store has been praised for its fun atmosphere and selection of hard-to-find candies, and the business has maintained a solid online presence. While the store's official Instagram page hasn't been as active lately, it still draws consistent foot traffic from fans of the show and candy lovers alike. In December 2023, Chumlee made an in-person appearance at the candy shop, as announced through a post on the shop's Facebook page. During the visit, he spent time talking with fans, signing autographs, and promoting exclusive merchandise like signed bobbleheads and novelty collectibles. Events like these have helped keep his fan base engaged, even when he's less active online. His personal Instagram account, while quiet for stretches, occasionally lights up with posts showcasing his interests, his travels, and personal milestones. One notable post in late 2023 featured Chumlee attending San Diego Comic-Con, where he was seen wearing a bold, graffiti-style bathrobe reminiscent of Keith Haring's 1980s artwork. His appearance was a hit with fans, especially those interested in pop culture and collectibles. While at Comic-Con, Chumlee shared photos with artists like Todd McFarlane, Mitsuhiro Arita, the original Pokemon card illustrator, and Stan Sakai, creator of Usagi Yojimbo. Meeting these icons was clearly a dream come true for Chumlee, who described the experience as unforgettable. The Comic-Con post also highlighted Chumlee's continued passion for collecting. He showed off a variety of rare Pokemon cards and Japanese collectibles, reinforcing his image not just as a TV personality, but as a genuine fan and collector. This hobby, which had always been part of his off-camera life, now became part of his brand identity. Through his social media posts under the handle Chumlee Collects, he shares glimpses into his collection, drawing in followers who share the same niche interests. Another milestone in Chumlee's journey was the release of his own retro video game, Chumlee's Adventure: The Quest for Pinky. The game, developed as a homebrew title, was inspired by classic side-scrolling Nintendo games and featured Chumlee as the main character on a mission to rescue his beloved dog, Pinky. In an interview with Looper, Chumlee explained that he grew up on Nintendo games and had always wanted to create something that reflected his childhood love of gaming. The project was well received by both Pawn Stars fans and retro gaming collectors, particularly those who appreciate limited edition physical cartridge releases. The game included hidden content that could be unlocked by completing the game without taking damage, a challenge for hardcore players. This small detail further showed Chumlee's input into the project, highlighting his understanding of what retro gamers appreciate. As niche as the game may have been, it reinforced Chumlee's ability to pivot into markets aligned with his passions and personal brand. Of course, one of the most visible aspects of Chumlee's transformation remains his health. After undergoing gastric sleeve surgery in 2019, he lost over 150 pounds and maintained the weight loss through healthier eating and regular physical activity. His journey has inspired many fans who have struggled with similar challenges, and he shared openly about the ups and downs of the process. In various interviews, he's credited both the memory of his father and the support of his partner as motivating factors for staying committed to health and wellness. Even with his healthier lifestyle, Chumlee remains someone who enjoys life's simple pleasures. His candy shop, his love for collectibles, and his interaction with fans continue to reflect a down-to-earth personality that hasn't disappeared despite years in the spotlight. Unlike many reality stars who fade from relevance after their show's initial success, Chumlee has proven remarkably skilled at keeping himself involved in ventures that matter to him and his fans. In terms of social media, while his personal Instagram account has been quiet at times, his alternative profile, Chumlee Collects, remains active, with occasional updates about new finds, events, and appearances. His following across platforms still numbers in the hundreds of thousands, a sign that his appeal hasn't diminished, even if his online visibility ebbs and flows. The ability to bounce back from controversy, manage a successful business, launch a video game, and remain part of one of the longest-running reality series on television is no small feat. Chumlee's story has evolved far beyond the goofy, often underestimated character he played when Pawn Stars first aired in 2009. He has matured into a figure who has owned up to his past, taken accountability, and reshaped his life on his own terms. Whether it's selling nostalgic candy to tourists, posting Pokémon card hauls online, or exploring hidden treasures across America for television, Chumlee has shown a capacity to adapt and grow while remaining true to himself. His story continues to unfold, and it's clear that despite his ups and downs, he still has much to offer, not only as a TV personality, but as an entrepreneur, collector, and everyday person navigating life with openness and humor.